So the whole point of this channel is to play all my games randomly, right? I have this huge backlog of like almost 2,000 games, which is embarrassing to say. I have this complicated algorithm that selects them for me to play. However, there's a little bit of solace in that, and a little bit of torment in the fact that there are things I can do to allow myself to pick a game. And there are things that I can do to allow you guys to pick a game. And there are things you guys can do to pick a game for me. And that's what the theme of this episode of Beating the Backlog is. They're all games that were picked for me to play outside of my random gaming thing that I do. I am RNG Gamer. I do play all my games randomly, but not these. Let's talk about these 4 games. One of my oldest channel members, a good friend of mine, Mike Taj, has been a great supporter of this channel. He's done a lot of things to help out. He has also secretly been plotting against me. At Game Jam South, he suckered me into buying Super Star Wars Return of the Jedi. And then he engineered a mutiny to have that game selected for me to play for a live stream. In a multi-round tournament of people voting what to play, he was able to convince enough people onto his side to select that game. I can't believe he did that. I live streamed it. In all of the games I've ever played on this channel, only on 2 live streams have I ever quit a game. One was Sweet Home, and that's just because it was a bad game to stream. This is the only game I've ever quit because it was so hard and so bad. And I mean, it is notorious and legendary for its terribleness. It's Super Star Wars Return of the Jedi. This game was developed by Sculptured Software, who have never made a good game and are primarily known for porting games to the Super Nintendo and ruining them. Like the Doom port, which is so bad, and the freaking Mortal Kombat port that's so bad. Now this game closely follows the plot of Return to the Jedi, and it even fills in some of the little story parts that happen in between parts of the movie. Now that's really cool. That's cool, I like that. I like that it sticks to the story, but this game is freaking 20 stages long. 20 stages, that's too much. Some of them are over an hour long. Some of them I spent like 4 hours on, okay? That's like a freaking RPG. And this is an action game. This is a platforming action game. And a lot of this game is so frustratingly difficult that it is really torturous to have to play through these really long stages. Honestly, there are times playing this game I would actually rather be at the dentist than doing this. Now, this game looks good, it sounds good, it's freaking Star Wars. If you like Star Wars, you're gonna like this. But where this game gets its bad reputation is from its absolutely atrocious level design. The first level is this Mode 7 racing level where you have to dodge stuff and jump over ravines. It's nothing special, but it's not bad, okay? It's not bad at all. I beat it on my first try. But everything after that is a freaking side-scrolling platformer collectathon. And it really does feel like an Amiga game, like Turrican, if you're familiar with that, but like way crappier. So before each stage, you select from the available characters. And they are characters from the movie, and they do change in between stages, right? At the beginning of Return of the Jedi, Han Solo is still frozen in, I was gonna say kryptonite, carbonite. So like he's not available in the first stage of this game, right? But after you rescue him, he becomes available. That makes sense, right? That's good game design, right? Now, besides Han Solo, you have Luke, Leia, and Chewbacca. And Luke and Leia are melee, and Chewbacca and Han Solo use ranged weapons like pistols and rifles. I don't know that it super matters which character you select. They all feel really either overpowered or underpowered, like in every situation. It's just the stages are too easy or they're too hard, and it doesn't even really matter. Like I say, it doesn't matter, or it's the most important decision you've ever made, right? like who cares, or it's make or break. I hate that, because you're not set up to know the rules by which to play the game, right? Is it important? Is it not important? We don't know. It's random. On the melee characters, you have this spinning double jump that seems to be like the most effective attack in the game, because you're constantly having to make these blind jumps, and there are always enemies placed in a spot to make you take damage. So basically, it plays almost like Sonic the Hedgehog, except you don't bounce off the enemies. You just like travel through them. So if you're about to jump into a ravine and you like jump up to hit some freaking mosquito, you know, the common mosquito enemies you see in all of the Lord of the Rings, not Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, wrong franchise. Star Wars movies, well, you don't bounce off the legendary mosquitoes. No, in this one, you just pass through them and you fall into the pit of death, okay? The level design in these games is baffling, and as far as I can tell, it was just modeled after like an ant farm. It's just like a large like rectangle with just like branching paths, like running all through it. Everything looks the same and you'll always feel lost because there's no like real way to differentiate the different areas of the levels. They honestly look like they're just copied and pasted over and over and over again, and some of them are really big. And when you die, it takes you back to like a previous checkpoint, and the checkpoints are like touching R2-D2. Okay. But you don't just move left to right through these stages. They're maze-like. Sometimes you'll approach a checkpoint from the left or the right, and then you'll proceed to play for another 20 minutes, and then when you die and it puts you back at the checkpoint, guess what? You can't remember if you're supposed to go left or right. Everything looks the same. It's not clear. You're being attacked from all sides. So you end up going left, wrong. You end up backtracking to the beginning of the level and wasting more time. Oh yeah, and you picked up checkpoints along the way, which basically rewind your progress. It's like plugging in a freaking USB cable where you have like a 50-50 chance, but you always guess wrong the first time. So you try it again and that's also wrong, and then you go back to the first way and you got it right. So you're right the first time, and for some reason it just didn't want to work. That's what playing this game feels like, except you're just infinitely flipping the USB cable over and over again. Now, this is not an exaggeration, but I think the enemies and the enemy placement in this game is the worst I've ever seen in any game. They usually just infinitely respawn, and their freaking prime directive is just to home in on you and fly or run directly into your face, which would be fine and expected. I play a lot of shoot 'em ups. I'm used to things flying into my face, okay? Except they can fly and move through the terrain, and you can't. Those legendary mosquitoes, yeah, they'll just move right through the rocks. They'll be on a path above you. They'll just come down through and attack you, and you can't attack them. Why? Freaking sculptured, why did you make your game do that? That's so irritating. Basically, every flying enemy in every level is just always homing in on you at all times.
Why is he still alive? How do you get around that? What do you do there? What are you supposed to do?
You know that scene in horror movies where people get attacked by like a swarm of bats, and there's just bats like all over them just flapping like crazy, and they're just like screaming and like, just like trying to get the bats out of their freaking hair? You know those, you remember those scenes? That's how this game feels to play all the time. You're just being assaulted by a million little things that should be easy to knock away, but like you can't get them off of you. Just simple tasks like jumping up stationary platforms doesn't feel right, and you can't even get them to work half the time. You can't make simple jumps half the time, and the game often requires you to do these insane platforming challenges. The truth is, this game doesn't really have level design. No one with intelligence could design anything this bad. It looks like it was just, like I said, randomly placed. Like they had the game engine where they designed the level and they just like clicked a piece and drug it like randomly around. As long as there was a path from beginning to end, like a maze, didn't matter what was in the maze, it doesn't matter the route, it doesn't matter that the maze loops back on itself, it doesn't matter that the platforms can't really be jumped up without like landing on a pixel perfect spot. They just like send it. They're like, send it, it's good, it works, it's Star Wars, people love it. And they kind of did. In hindsight, they hated it, but at the time they loved it. And this game sold like crazy. I play a lot of hard games, and I'm kind of known for playing hard games and persevering through them. Not that I'm like a great gamer. I would say I'm a little bit better than average in general. Some games I'm really good at, some games I'm not great at. But this is one of the hardest freaking games I've ever played in my entire life. And it's not because it's like challenging, it's because it's unfair and poorly designed. And it's just so long. It's just such a long game. I charge you, after you're done with this video, not now, okay? Finish this video first, but after you're done with this, go watch an online guide on how to beat this game. Each stage is like a half-hour-long episode, primarily centered around cheesing the game and finding spots to farm extra lives. Like the very first stage in the walkthrough is like get to the end and then go over here and collect these 2 1-ups and then die. And then like go back to the checkpoint and then collect the 2 1-ups and die. And each time you're getting like a yield positive, a net positive yield of 1 life. It's like get up to 99 lives. Then you have to do that like 15 more times in the game. No! That's a chore. That's not a game, that's a chore. LucasArts knew they didn't have to make a good game, right? It's Star Wars, it's still gonna sell automatically, so they just dumped this garbage out without even really playtesting it. There's no way that a focus group of people played this stupid game and were like, yeah, that's what people want to do with their time, is play this. Right from the beginning, it's unfair. The first opening second to the game, you're like, what is even freaking happening? And that's the speeder level, the good one. After that is like, I don't know. You know when they talk about like the crap hitting the proverbial fan, right? People say that, but do you ever like envision what it would be like to just take a turd and push it through the back of a fan and just it blow everywhere? That's actually what this game is like. They just fed a turd into the back of a fan and wherever it splattered, like that's what you got. It's Star Wars. George Lucas, guys. Han Solo, freaking Bikini Leia and Jabba the Hutt and all that crap. Buddy, how is it not gonna sell 1 million copies? Like I said, this is the only game I have streamed that I quit and never finished.
It is unbelievably chuckle. If you want me to keep playing, I'll keep playing it for a little bit. But boy, I don't want to. I really don't want to. 2/3 of you guys voted to banish Return of the Jedi to the Shadow Realm.
This was such a bad and painful experience to play that the viewers begged me to stop playing it after they selected it for me to play. They regretted their decision, okay? They paid money, they tipped money to make me play this game and then asked me to abandon it. That's how bad this is. If you've ever heard about sunk cost fallacy, where you feel like you've already invested some money into something and you gotta keep doing it, you gotta get your money's worth out of it, that's like a driving factor in a lot of the economy. That driving factor was just negated here. just no, stop it, please. It's like going to dinner and you pay all this money for dinner and then you see it and you start eating it and you're like, I've changed my mind, I'm just not gonna eat. That's what this was. That's what streaming this game was like. I really hated this game. Like hated it. Like hated, I know that's a strong word, but like hate it. Anybody who's ever beaten this game, like legitimately, you must be the best gamer of all time, or you just have like a freaking, I don't know, like a masochistic streak. Sadist streak? Sadists? What are the ones that like to get hurt? Masochists like to hurt people. Sadists like to get hurt. I can't remember. Maybe flip-flop that. Whichever one. You're the one that likes to be tied into the chair and whipped real hard, okay?
What's wrong with you?
But old RNG, I'm too old for that. I can't do that anymore, man. I don't want to waste my time on a game I don't like that just wants to torture me, okay? It's time to move on to greener pastures. It's time to get tied to the comfy chair and get whipped. I honestly can't recommend this game to anyone. Even if you're a Star Wars fan, I vote that you avoid this just with every ounce of your being. It's just a miserable game. It was painful to play. Super Star Wars Return of the Jedi on the SNES is a 3 out of 10. It's freaking awful. And speaking of things that aren't awful, let me tell you about today's sponsor, Goodiez. There was a time in my life where I would play a game like this. Maybe I bought it with my hard-earned money, and I believe this game was like $80 or maybe $70 new when it came out in the 90s. You remember when you got a bad game? Like maybe you just bought it based on the box art, or like you got it for a gift for Christmas, and it just absolutely sucked, just so much, and you couldn't wait to trade that game in. So you got your parents to take you down to the store, and then they offered you like 20% of what it's worth. You didn't even have enough money to get like a good game. You had to get like another bad game, the discount game nobody wanted. Well, Goodiez solved that problem with their new trade-in program. You don't have to get your parents to take you down to the store anymore. No, you just select the games you want to trade in, scan their barcode. It gives you their value and their trade-in value. You get to see it right away. Just click trade in, select the quality of the game. Is it fair? Is it good? Is it excellent? And it gives you a trade-in price. If you decide you want to trade it in, click confirm. They'll give you a shipping label, you mail it in, and you get that money to use on anything in the Goodiez store. You're not limited what's in a retail store. Like if your local store like mine has about 300 games in it and you've got them all, what are you gonna trade in for, right? Store credit for nothing? Goodiez got a store with 10,000 games in it. Everything from new games to retro games. Find something you want, grab it, have it shipped to you. Don't forget to pay the people. But Goodiez is the best app out there I know of for buying, selling, and trading games. You can find a link to it in the description down below. Thank you so much, Goodiez, for sponsoring this video. Let's talk about some more games you guys made me play. So you may be curious, but freaking RNG, how do people even like make you play these? How do they make you do it? Well, it's real simple. All you have to do is come to one of my live streams, and right at the top of the live stream is a banner. People tip at live streams, even though I've told them not to. They tip. They're gonna get something for their money. And the thing they're gonna get is they get to pick a game for me to play. Now there's a banner in my live streams that sort of fills in over time as people tip. And we get to the top of that, that's the game we're gonna play. Everybody voted on that game. But if someone wants to just come in there and tip the full thing, they get to pick the game. Lo and behold, a viewer named Nightmare Cow came in, tipped the full amount, and selected one of the most notoriously difficult and obtuse and just freaking weird games of all time, Shadow Tower. Thank you, Nightmare Cow, for your contribution. This review is dedicated to you. And there it is in all of its $300-something glory. Now, I've talked about Shadow Tower a ton. I played like 15 or 20 hours of it live streamed on this channel. I've spoken about it on a Hardest Games video on this channel. There's the full playthrough on my other channel. We have talked about Shadow Tower again and again and again, okay? But I've never given a final review till now. Now you may be asking yourself, but friggin' RNG, why is this game so expensive? Well, in case you didn't know, Shadow Tower is made by FromSoft. FromSoft, who made Elden Ring. And before that, they made Sekiro, and Demon Souls, and Dark Souls, and Bloodborne. Now, before there was Dark Souls, there was Demon Souls. And before Demon Souls, there was Kingsfield. Kingsfield is a fairly obscure and hard to find PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 RPG. It is a lot like Dark Souls, just in a first-person mode. Well, if that game wasn't hard enough for you, FromSoft decided to do a spin-off of that game to make it even harder and weirder, and that game is Shadow Tower. Shadow Tower is part of the Soul series. I don't know why I whistled when I said Soul series. If you gotta collect all those games, you gotta have Shadow Tower. And it's the hardest one to find. That's why it's like creeping up to $400. Now, I beat Shadow Tower gloriously. It took me forever, okay? Shadow Tower isn't one of the hardest games I've ever played in terms of like mechanics, but it's one of the most punishing games I have ever played. And I'm not exaggerating. Those of you watching this video, a lot of you have seen me play Shadow Tower. It's extremely punishing. When I first started this on the first stream, I totally screwed myself over and had to completely start the game over, which most guides say you will literally have to do, most likely, literally most likely have to do. Now, there are these psychos out there that are like, if you ever get hit in this game, then you're just not very good at video games. Okay, fine. Oh, sure. There are rooms you can walk into in this game that you'll just automatically take damage. Like, if the enemies see you, you take damage sometimes. So if you manage to do it without getting hit, I think you're full of crap. Whatever your face is on the freaking forum from like 16 years ago when you wrote that, that insulted me so much. I'm mad at a 16-year-old forum post from just some freaking kid. Like the one kid that played this game. Now, this looks like a freaking first-person PS1 Dark Souls, and it is. The game is gritty, it's bleak, it's dark. Hell, even the font is the same font from Demon Souls. I swear it's the same. The music, what little of it there is, it's spectacular, okay? Although most of the freaking game is just like ambient sounds. The voice acting is great, and that's usually the case in most FromSoft games, okay? Now, there are a few exceptions. There's some duds in here, all right? Not gonna fault the bad voice actors from the PlayStation 1 era too much, okay? They didn't know that you needed to be good to be in a video game. But some of them are just as good as something you find in like Elden Ring, which is surprising for a game that's, you know, almost 30 years old. The enemies look like they are straight out of other Souls games, including some of the bosses. Freaking Quelaag from Dark Souls 1, that design is from this game. The Spider Woman who's topless, yeah, she's in freaking Shadow Tower. The final boss from Elden Ring, he's one of the bosses in this game. They're still using stuff and assets from this game now. That's just so shocking to me. The blocky and chunky graphics in this, they just work. It makes you feel that same sort of like, I don't know, whimsical inquisitiveness combined with like impending dread that FromSoft is still so good at making. The first time I played this, I was shocked at how hard it was. I played other Souls games, I beat Lies of P, I beat Silver Surfer, I beat Ghouls and Ghosts on my freaking first try on a live stream. And none of those games even hold a candle to the struggles I felt playing this the first time. I couldn't even hit an enemy at all, just like couldn't even make contact. It has tank controls. R1 and L1 strafe, those move you left and right. And R2 and L2 look up and down. And you have to be right up on an enemy. And I stress this, they have to be centered on your screen and the number of pixels away from you that the length of your weapon is for you to make contact. And I think it even calculates what part of your weapon hits them. So if you're like swinging a sword and you hit here, it does less damage than if you hit on the tip. But there's no way to know that because it's a PlayStation 1 game, right? Like the graphics don't help you with that. With the tank controls and all the crap you gotta handle, you're usually always trying to control 6 different buttons during combat. You've got R1, R2, L1, L2, triangle, and the D-pad. And it's just hard to maneuver when the other enemies are like moving around. It's just hard. You're in this like waltz of strafing around each other, just trying to not hit or get hit. Or hit them and not get hit them and not get hit yourself, okay? It really is like a freaking helicopter. You have like pitch, roll, and freaking yaw, okay? Yaw, remember yaw? Remember that when you took your helicopter pilot's test? How you learned about yaw? You got yaw in this game, okay? It takes some time, to say the least. Now, you have a stamina meter just like you do in all the other Souls games, and every attack uses 100% of your stamina, okay? And it takes a few seconds to replenish, meaning most of the enemies can get in several hits to your one hit, which is super bad, because only a few hits will kill you in this game. Luckily and unluckily, every enemy you kill makes you a little bit stronger. There's not really leveling up in this game like there is in other Souls games. And that's a detriment. You can't really grind up levels like you can in Dark Souls and get like a big boost. It's very incremental. You need to engage with everything. Not like in Dark Souls where you can just run by stuff. You need to fight in this and you need to track down enemies out of the way to get stronger. One of the things that sets Dark Souls 2 apart from the other Dark Souls games is you can't infinitely re-kill enemies. You kill them 4 or 5 times, then they never respawn. That's what happens in this game. You can't grind infinitely. You need to kill everything till exhaustion and then just hope your skills carry you through, your like physical gaming skills. Now they got rid of that mechanic after Dark Souls 2, you know why? Because it's pointless. It's making you actively grind on every enemy. So you have to kill every enemy 5 times. Why can't you just kill them once and get 5 times the XP? It pads out the game. And it's the same here. You need to fully explore every maze-like confusing stage that is full of equipment, and the equipment has stat boosts. That's kind of how you like upgrade your character. There are also these stat up potions, which are the only way to level up your stats. You have to find hidden items to level up your stats, like freaking antidotes, healing items. There are also just tons of like secret illusory walls, just like in Dark Souls, often that have like the equipment you need. They hide items you need to progress in secret rooms and don't give you clues to where the secret rooms are. You just gotta like hit every wall till you find it. Now, the biggest flaw in this game is that there are a set number of healing potions in the entire game, okay? You can't waste them and you can't get hit too much. There are no bonfires. There's no way to heal other than the potions. And that's a real problem because every item in this game has weapon durability. Your swords, your armor, your magic spells. Every time you use them, every time you get hit, every time you hit an enemy, it takes away the durability of your items. And guess how you heal your items? You sacrifice your health to it. Got 800 hit points? Your sword's almost broken? It takes 620 hit points to heal your sword. Enjoy going down to 180 health. Yeah, you could use a healing potion to raise it all the way back up to 800, but then you may not have a healing potion for the boss. You have to use basically every weapon you find in this game and get them all right down to the last little bit of durability. Now, how do you repair? So to even be able to do this, you can't even do this at will. Oh, you have to find a blacksmith and know which items to repair and which ones not to, because you may screw yourself over permanently. You may run out of healing items. This happened to me the first time I played. All my weapons broke and I used all my healing items because I sucked so bad. There was no way to deal damage and you can't fight barehanded. You have to have a weapon. It feels almost like a freaking puzzle game where you have to know the order to like kill everything and then where every single item is and what to repair and in the order to repair it and which items you're going to need for the future bosses and which magical spells work on which boss, which ones don't. There's like really, and that's fine. That's fine in a puzzle game and it's fine in a Dark Souls game, you know, because you get to experiment. But experimenting in this screws yourself over. You have a limited amount of reagents, the healing potions. You can't screw around. When you experiment, if you don't have the correct hypothesis, you're screwed over permanently. Start the whole game over. That's why most guides tell you you will probably have to start the game over multiple times. Now, there's nothing I've ever played that is like this game. It's incredibly unfair, it's unbalanced. You often need to cheese enemies to succeed. You have to find hidden enemies behind false walls to progress with no clues in the game. You level up finding hidden potions. There's a constant fear of soft locking yourself. It's literally a gaming hellscape. And it's a freaking hard to find game and has been for decades. By every freaking metric, this game should suck. And I think it was like universally panned when it released. People hated this game. They hated it. If you go into this game cold, without any research or any idea of how to play a Souls game, you're gonna hate this game. You will hate it with every ounce of your being. It will be like the worst game you've ever played. But if you have those Dark Souls skills, and you use a map and possibly a guide, which was included with the game in Japan as I understand it, this game becomes a really unique and fun challenge. This is a horrible game, but I would go as far as to say that this is the best horrible game I've ever played. Seriously. It's like finding an old book from like 1820, and it tells a much more primitive version of like Harry Potter, okay? It's got a lot of the same themes, characters, plot points. It makes you feel like you just have some sort of esoteric knowledge and are part of a secret group. Like, hey, I'm part of like the alpha build of Harry Potter. Like, I remember how everything changed when it was released in the movies. I know what it was originally like when it was pure. That's what Shadow Tower's kind of like. It is janky as crap to play. It's frustrating. It is hard as hell. It is going to frustrate you. It's completely unfair. And I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm gonna give Shadow Tower on the PlayStation 1 a 7 out of 10. It's good. It's a good game. Thank you, Nightmare Cow, for making me play it. This next segment is brought to you by Patreon supporter JT Scout. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. If you guys would like to become a channel member or a Patreon supporter, you can find the links to that down below. Now, unrelated, but I'm currently playing Yakuza 0 on the PlayStation 4. And as I was playing that game and wandering around, I wandered into an arcade and discovered there are some arcade machines in that game. And one of those arcade machines was a game from my backlog. I had to play it anyway to get completion in Yakuza 0, so I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna review this game separately. I was gonna play it anyway. It's Space Harrier. Now, the completion bonus you have to get for Space Harrier is to score 5 million points on this game. I saw online where some guy was complaining that he spent like 10 hours trying to get 5 million points, and it's like the hardest thing to do in Yakuza 0. I gave it a shot, and I did it on like my 3rd try, which took about 15 minutes total. I'm not saying I'm a freaking elite gamer, but I was taken aback by the general lack of like arcade gaming skills on these forum posts. And people are saying this like, it's like almost a God, it took me forever. Like, Space Harrier's hard, but it's not like that hard. And yes, I played it before in the past. This is the first time I've ever like paid attention to it enough to write a review, okay? Do a review, not write a review. Do a review. So Space Harrier is a rail shooter set in like the Fantasy Zone universe. Yes, that Fantasy Zone, the one with like Opa Opa, the little ship that walks around and flies left and right, you know, the Sega mascot. This game came out in 1985. I was 3 when this came out, and I'm old as dirt now. Okay, this game was a freaking technological marvel, and it was a huge hit. It became a classic that has been ported to freaking every console under the sun, and it's still awesome. I mean, it's in freaking Yakuza 0. That game's great, by the way. I'm really enjoying it, but like, I spent a lot of time just playing Space Harrier in a game that has a lot of other cool stuff, and I chose to spend my time with Space Harrier, even after getting the 5 million points. The gameplay is really simple. You fly forward on like a fixed path, but you can move your character around the screen, and you have a shot button, and that's it. Like the joystick and the shot button, okay? There's no power-ups, there's no lock-on, no nothing except your dodging abilities. Shooting doesn't have to be super precise, and you'll pretty much shoot down an enemy if you shoot close to them, so that means most of the game is really centered around the dodging. And you'll have to have some freaking skills because this game throws a psychopathic amount of stuff at you. Bullets, enemies, but primarily the terrain is the main enemy. Each of the 18 areas have a very distinct and psychedelic look to them, which I freaking love. Also, the enemy design is fantastic with tons of like strange and whimsical creations that are all executed really well, and they're very classic, and I just think the design of this is awesome. Like I said, I've played Space Harrier throughout the years, many times, but this is the first time I've ever really sat down and tried to like get good at it. After an hour, I was able to get to like stage 10 on 1 credit, which means without continuing. After 2 hours, I could get to stage 12. It gets really brutal and almost impossibly difficult after that. I mean, it was designed to steal your freaking quarters, right? That's what it was designed for. I think there are like 16 or 18 or maybe 20 stages. I can't remember. I made it like a majority of the way through. I will say enough to review the game, okay? I'm sure I could learn to 1 credit clear this game, but it would probably take me like 20 hours, 30 hours, something like that. And It's good, but I don't think it's quite that good. Okay, there's other games I want to play more than Space Harrier, like Yakuza 0. Now, in the Yakuza 0 port that we're playing, it has no credit feeding, okay? Most arcade games, when you die, you just put in another quarter and keep going, right? And so you can beat a game if you spend enough money. You can't do that in this version of Space Harrier. You gotta beat it on 1 quarter. Virtual 100 yen coin that you use in the game. That's it, that's what you got, okay? It's gonna put your freaking gaming skills to the test, okay? It just is. Yu Suzuki designed this. He did Outrun and Hang On and Shenmue. Shenmue very much influenced Yakuza. Shenmue is like Yakuza Light, the predecessor to Yakuza. Yu Suzuki killed it. This game's great, it still holds up. There's a reason it's a classic. I love Space Harrier, I think it's a great game. It's not one of the best arcade games I've ever played, but for a game that's freaking 40 years old, kept my attention. I think Space Harrier, at least in Yakuza 0, which feels like fine, like it's ported well. I can't tell you if it's between it and playing it like on the 32X. It's a 7 out of 10. Great game. Or good, not great, good. It's good. It's a good game. Okay, 7 out of 10. Good game. If you stuck around this far, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Like I said, if you'd like to become a channel member or a Patreon supporter, you can find the links down below to join up. While you're down there, you might as well do that for me. Subscribe to the channel, give me a like, leave me a comment. I still answer every single one of them, although it's hard to do these days. Really appreciate you guys. The names you can see on the screen, well, those are my current Patreon and channel member supporters. Like I said, every dollar goes right back into this channel. I couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you in the next one.